So can you see me?
No, I can't see you.
Just one second. Attendees are there. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. We have participants even now.
Okay,
They are registering. They are actually joining one by one.
good. Other panelists have joined?
Yeah. We have questions. Yeah. Yes, sir. Can you please join? Yeah. Okay. You could join. All are ready. Participants are there. So, can you hear me? Hi. Just a minute. Oh. Hello. Hello. So, I'm not able to hear. Everybody, please check whether your mic is unmute in unmute mode. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. I cannot hear Abhilash sir.
Abhilash sir കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല.
Yeah. Please check your audios.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Jinachandra sir, I'm not able to hear you. Jinachandra sir. Yeah. Internet problem. Maybe internet problem. If anybody is facing some problem, please check your net connection. Hello. Okay. Let me check, please. Yeah. Okay. So just a minute. So now,
Hello.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, Jinachandran sir is audible, I guess.
Yeah.
Hello.
Everything is audible.
Yeah.
But Abhilash Joy sir, I will unmute him now. Yeah. Abhilash sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
At least right now we have 30 attendees just now joined, and people will be joining. There are a lot more registrations. They will be joining by 12:30 because the announced time was 12:30. So there are few people. Please raise your hands if you are having any special questions or concerns. If you have any language preference other than Malayalam, you can just mention right now.
No, if I can manage English, Tamil. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Little bit of Hindi also, no issue.
Okay. Fine.
And when you are raising the question, you can say this what is called this core is from which place. You can highlight that from Hyderabad or Bangalore. Accordingly, we can answer. Able to hear, please? Hello.
Yes. We can hear you.
Yeah.
So attendees, please be online. Hope you people are hearing us. If you have any problem with your speaker, or if you're not able to hear, please check your internet connection.
Sure.
Okay. So to start with, so today's topic is, just check the other chat boxes. So today's topic is rooftop farming and importance of waterproofing. During this COVID time, we might have understood how important it is to have self-sufficiency in food farming. So most of you people have thought about starting it, though you were not started it. So while doing this food farming facilities, when you're providing it at your rooftop, you should be very, very careful about this, how it is going to affect your existing structure. So that is today's topic. So I welcome you all to the webinar. Officially, we will be starting only by 12:30. So till then, we will give introduction. Abhilash sir, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, myself, Abhilash Joy. I'm a structural engineer, director of Stuba Engineering Consultancy Private Limited. We are into structural design of steel and RCC buildings. We also do proof checking, and we also do value engineering and repair of buildings and retrofitting. And we work in India as well as in countries like Bahrain, Muscat, as well as in Africa.
Now, Jinachandrababu sir, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah. Good afternoon to you all. Myself, Jinachandrababu, representing Pidilite Industries Ltd. Associated with the Pidilite for almost 25 years. We are primarily into specialty chemicals and adhesives, construction chemicals, sealants, etc. I am handling customer service division of South India for this waterproofing category, Dr.Fixit. And we are primarily servicing engineers, architects, and civil contractors with respect to waterproofing, preventive as well as curative measures. And we are in this line for almost 30 years, and almost a wide range of category material is available with us, starting from integral to various new generation products like polyurethane, various prefabricated membranes, and high latest technology like polyurea. And we are servicing across India, and we got globally, we got presence. And we can say confidently that it's an Indian origin multinational having a representation more than 50 countries. and the manufacturing setup around more than 7 countries outside India. And this is a brief about the company. And we got a wide network in India. We are nurturing applicators, and we got a wide network across, as well as we got training facility across, and technical team we got for supporting the customer requirements. And this is all about my company and myself. And I am currently based in Cochin and servicing southern part of India, and managing a team of technical expertise. Okay. And I wish to congratulate this construction philosophy management for initiating this program during this period. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm happy to answer your queries.
No audio.
Yeah, Nebu, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, my name is Nebu Abraham. I'm basically a civil engineer by training, and I'm representing construction philosophy. I'm the editor for this magazine. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all about me.
So today, Construction Philosophy is organizing this webinar on this rooftop farming and waterproofing techniques in order to promote all sustainable living practices, to encourage you all, not only engineers, to common people also. Please try practicing sustainable practices at your home itself, so that in coming days we need not depend on other people. We can have good quality food. We can be self-sufficient. We can save money, time, energy. We can live happily, healthy. So to start with, construction philosophy, I will give a brief introduction about it. It is a national publication which was launched in the month of May in 2019 at Cochin. So it was launched by CEO of L&T Infra Engineering Limited, Mr. P.G. Venkatram, and jointly with President of Pidilite Cochin, and it is almost reaching first year of construction philosophy, and we are organizing so many programs and other training programs to industry people as well as engineers, and even to normal people. Whatever engineering support you need, we will be organizing one by one to support you and to help you out in all engineering aspect related issues. So today we will officially start our webinar right now. Almost our attendees are in the list, and we will start it. So the first question is actually to Abhilash Joy sir. How important is it to take care of this waterproofing techniques while starting this rooftop farming?
Yeah, there are 2 or 3 ways in which you can do that. One, we can do it on existing buildings. Second is we can plan in such a way while we construct the building. And third one is for professionally for doing farming itself. And in the first case, in the existing buildings, there are it might be having different exposure conditions, because if you take across India, we have coastal zones, dry zones, humid tropical zones. So if you take each of the zones, the situation is unique, and we have to treat it in different ways. Primarily, before doing a waterproofing, you have to check into 2-3 aspects of this existing structure. If it's on a rooftop residential building, it would have been designed for a live load of 150 to 200 kilograms per meter square. So when you load something, you have to first check it whether it is adequate. So that's the first thing. Usually residential buildings are designed for 150 kilograms to 200 kilograms. Second one is the existing condition of the slab. If it's if it already has cracks, or it is the thickness is very important. So you have to check all that. Because of the climate here, we have wetting and drying, because we have alternate wetting and drying climates. So it's really important to have a waterproofing, because the reinforcement with moisture as well as oxygen initiate the corrosion of reinforcements. So it's really important to have a waterproofing layer over the slab. And there is something before the waterproofing is done, we have to pre-check for the cracks. If there is a crack, you have to pre-fill it, or maybe do some grout. So that's it. The waterproofing is really important for the slab because it will be exposed to moisture and oxygen throughout its life when you are going in for a farm.
So what are the methods available for protecting our roof from leakage issues while doing roof farming?
It depends on what type of roof farming you're doing. It can be in small bags. You can have maybe a layer of soil and do the farming. And even if it's an open farming, you can have roofs above it, above the top. So it depends on what type of agriculture, maybe small rooftop gardening you are going to do. If it's in gunny bags, normal waterproofing because you don't expect any major aberration, or maybe you can't expect the membrane to be cracked or something like that. So there are and you can go for acrylic as well as membrane proofing. There are also methods by which they go for additional layer of poly HDP sheets for waterproofing.
Okay. So now, Jinachandrababu sir, how you are helping out the people who are practicing this rooftop farming from your end, from the company point of view?
As mentioned by Mr. Abhilash sir, because after doing the condition assessment, depends on the site requirement and the customer expectation, because we will select the system. It can be a multi-layer system, and based on the requirement, we will freeze the material and what exactly needs to be done. And actually we need to engage a skilled force for the execution. That is the primarily most important actually, because nobody is manufacturing raw material today, because only thing the execution is critical everywhere. That is why Pidilite is focusing on that part. We are nurturing and upgrading the knowledge level of the applicator, and we too got an in-house technical team, and they will assist. They will go to site. They will do pre, during, and post assessment of the application, and they will help the customer as well as the contractor for finalizing the correct specification and BOQ for the execution. Based on that, and if there will be supervision from our end to ensure the quality as well as correct product consumption and all, we will monitor, and that service is available across actually. That is very critical, especially for a area like roof gardening or roof farming. Okay.
So one of the very common questions that has been asked by most of them are, what is the best time for doing waterproofing? Is it before construction, or during the construction, or after construction? To Jinachandrababu.
Yeah, according to me, actually, it should be much before the construction, and that should be in the planning stage, according to me, because so that the structural engineer can take care of the design part, so that they can incorporate the spec before the construction. That is a vital question. That is very essential for even for medium class or upper class construction, because so that we can include the cost as well as effectiveness will be much higher compared to incorporating it later. And if you see the for existing building, for the application and initiating this work, other than monsoon we can do this work. If you see the climatic condition in Kerala, for example, other than monsoon period, we can initiate this work, because we need to have at least 7 to 10 days curing period for almost all the chemicals. And if you consider the design part with respect to this question, my sincere submission is to initiate and incorporate the same in the design stage itself.
That is before construction itself.
Exactly, madam.
And is there any relevance for this locality in selecting the product? Because is it something like the same product will be adaptable to houses that is in Kerala as well as in Karnataka, or is it varying?
No, it is all depends on the functional usage actually, because we can consider this kind of cultivation into three stages: shallow and medium or deep rooter or something. If it is a deep rooting trees like that, we can cultivate in planter boxes actually. Number one. And if it is a only 7 to 8 inch depth root is passing, those area we can use. We can consider as a medium category. Those areas we can go with a multi-layer waterproofing system with a anti-root features. Those kind of materials are available now. And for shallow kind of things like keeping in grow bag or anything, there we need to have a proper grading over the roof with a heavy duty robust waterproofing is sufficient actually. Because if the grow bag might have kept it on some kind of what is called a wooden plank or somewhere, not directly on the, it is not advisable to feed directly over the roof. Multiple systems.
So in the case of planter box, is it required to do waterproofing only at the just below this planter box, around the planter box, or the entire terrace?
Yeah, actually, there actually we have to do the waterproofing inside the planter box with a heavy duty. I think liquid applied membranes are there actually nowadays. We can apply 3-layer system, for example, polyurethane coatings. Then we can put a geotextile membrane separation layer and a screening or plastering. And further, we can fill soil. That is applicable for planter box. For critical area, when we are keeping this planter box over the roof, I think we can go with a seamless coating with a heavy duty foot trafficable coating is advisable.
So to larger audience, it is a special request. If you have any special questions to this particular panelist, you can just type in your chat box and you can put it there. We will answer it one by one and just at the end of this webinar. So next question is to Abhilash Joy sir. So how important it is to do the waterproofing that you have addressed already? What is the response from public right now when people are approaching you with a structural design or to construct a building? What is their response? Are they choosing it very widely right now? What is the preferences going on? Are they looking into normal landscaping, or for the vegetation itself they are adopting these rooftops? What is the trend?
Yeah. For me, less than 1% of the clients come up with such an idea. We as a nation do not have any law which abides them to have a rooftop garden. Countries like Singapore, they have a green design. They have to reduce the carbon footprint of the building. So it's mandatory to have a rooftop green zone. So I would urge the government and bodies, local bodies, to mandatorily provide systems or design the building for rooftop garden. There are 2-3 advantages. One is we have a very wide-ranging climate, and as you can see in Kerala, different parts of India, even if it's hot in the daytime, it can rain in the evening. So naturally, just like a glass, if a hot glass is put in cold water, it will break. So naturally, concrete can break when it rains in a hot climate, hot day. So we have to design all roofs for extreme climates and for extreme conditions. So I would urge everybody to design the roof for extremes and for even for maybe rooftop garden, so that later on no issues will be there regarding the roof.
So you are requesting the authorities to make it mandatory in coming days to encourage it, right?
2-3 advantages. One is like you can go for rooftop garden at your will. 2, it protects your roof from the maybe harsh weather in the long term. and 3, it is naturally we get a strong uncracked slab.
Okay. What is your opinion
I
on
wish to add
selecting?
here,
Yes. Yes, sir.
yeah, I wish to add one point here. Here, in addition to that, we can say it is a apt usage of neglected space actually, because we are having a sufficient build-up area. It is in a neglected stage. We can cultivate, and if we could do this kind of greenery, it will be an additional advantage for the environment also.
True.
And as you added,
one more.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
And in
Yes,
this
sir.
time
Yeah,
of COVID, and when there is, you have to look at Mahatma Gandhi, you have to be self-sufficient. So I think all of Indians should go for such rooftop gardens so that you have at least the vegetables for your around the year.
Yeah, one more thing I would like to add is, when even my house, we are having a small rooftop garden. So during this COVID lockdown period, the only peaceful thing that we enjoyed is that rooftop garden, and other than that, there were a lot of problems associated with the shortage of vegetables and increased price as well. So we were actually seriously depending on our rooftop garden this time. And in addition to that, what we experienced is another, and technically it is proven that if we are having a rooftop garden, just below that, the room temperature will be comparatively lesser, because almost in Kerala during this summer season, we know that temperature rise is horrible. We cannot sit inside the home, especially at the upper floor rooms. So if you're having a rooftop garden, the temperature will be comparatively less. And in one way or another way, it will be contributing a bit to help this global warming issue also. So being responsible persons, we are encouraging everyone to do this rooftop gardening, but associated issues is what we are discussing right now. The question is to Abhilash sir. The client is asking, when doing the waterproofing to existing roof, what are the things to be done? Step by step, can you explain?
As I said earlier, you have to first see the slab, because if it's for a residential building, you have to check, maybe you have to start from the design itself. You have to check what thickness the slab has and what is the spacing of the reinforcement. So depending upon that, we can work back the design load which can be put on the slab. And after assessing the amount of load which we can put, like grow bags or even the soil, then we assess the condition of the existing slab. That is, if it's cracked or what's the slope. The slope is really important, because once your rooftop garden is there and water tends to log, it will create issues later on. So the slope of the roof is really important. So you have to grade it in such a way that it's sloped towards one side or towards the drain. So as sir put it earlier, if you plan it while construction, it will be the most appropriate way of doing that. And once you assess the slab, then if there is a crack or if it's porous, if you find some dampness, you have to either pressure grout it or fill the cracks. Then after that, you go in for multiple layer waterproofing with different, because we have different materials. After that waterproofing layer, you have to have a protective layer, and over that soil should be put before farming.
So are there any, there is a question from Srijit Dungi. Are there any subsides for the roof preparation?
I couldn't get you. I couldn't hear you.
Come again.
Are there any subsides for the roof preparation? What are the methods by which we can prepare our roof for doing this rooftop farming? He is asking. Maybe you can continue what you were saying. We can cover his question.
As I was told, first you have to check the slope. If the water flows towards one side or it's accumulating towards one side. So first you check the slab for cracks, you fill it, you put pressure grout, or you can do grouting in so many ways. You can use even cement, ordinary cement, maybe in a low proportion, that is like 400 grams, and maybe 10 liters of water and applying it to the slab multiple times, 2-3 days, you can have a small grouting, slow grouting that we call. If you can add a pinch of salt, a pinch of soap, it will be good because it reduces surface tension. Or if we go in a sophisticated way, there are non-shrink grouts which can go into really small cracks that you can do. After that, if the crack is really big and the water is seeping down, you have to be really careful. You have to maybe advice of a structural engineer, because already if the slab is in distress, you shouldn't do anything over there. And after that, you fill the cracks, grout, then come up with the screed leveling, then come up with waterproofing layers. That is like membrane waterproofing is there. And in some case, if it's like a temporary structure, even people will also go in for LDP 2 mm thickness sheets because it's used as a lining, etc. So waterproofing part, you have n number of options, n number of materials. You have acrylic materials are there, polypropylene, different materials are there. Yeah.
That is one important question. It was asked by many of the people even yesterday in our comment box. What are the test methods for the slab to withstand the garden weight? As you said, to check the slab thickness and reinforcement detail for a normal person, it will not be possible from their end. So what are the test methods available? Do they need to contact an expert for that? That is the question by Silamparasan.
Let me add to it. Excuse me 1 second. I just wanted to add to that question. See, basically, in a layman's perspective, anything can be done over the slab. So only an expert can analyze and suggest how much extra load can be added to that particular structure. So if I could add to that question, up to what extent they can go without consulting an expert?
Yeah, this question is the most relevant because I put it in 2 ways. One, go free without any consultation. You maybe, as I told earlier, you can take at least 150 kilograms per meter square if normal conditions. If you have put 8 mm bars at a rate of at the spacing of 150 centimeter also, and a thickness of 10 centimeters. So in that case, instead of 150, you take 100 kilograms per meter square. That is if you take cement bag, half of the cement bag, 2 number of half-filled cement bags per meter square. That will be a good way of going, ideal way of going. Or I would say, if you're filling the full slab, maybe 75 mm, 7.5 centimeter maximum of soil on that slab. And the second way is to assess much more. Maybe you can just, if you are much more, you don't need to come to an engineer. You can assess the thickness, just have a chisel, and on the parapet side, you can assess what is the thickness of your slab. And if possible, find the spacing of the reinforcement through manual, maybe not directly inside the slab, on not the shade, the slab is protruding out. You can just check it out.
Right.
Okay. So for special purpose constructions, if you are adding additional loads, it is always recommended to approach a structural engineer to check the slab thickness and safety of the roof slab itself. Otherwise, it will be causing an irreparable damage. So to avoid that, you can better always consult a structural engineer for assessing the strength of the existing roof. If you're going for planter box of heavy loads, especially, there are people who are in various states who are doing even mango tree farming and banana trees at the rooftop. For these kind of purposes, when you're using your rooftop, you must consult a structural engineer before doing that. So that is the answer to that question.
Yeah,
along with the farming, actually, some people I have seen some people creating water bodies over the terrace without technical expertise. What is your comment on that? Actually, how do we manage to have such a structure?
So each material has its own weight. So 10 centimeter of soil is around 200 kilograms. So as I told earlier, kilograms per meter square. So as I told earlier, 1 meter square, 150 to 200 kilograms per meter square. When it comes to water, it's half the weight. So you can, you take maybe 10 centimeter, it's absolutely safe. Maximum up to 150 centimeters without any additional loads.
Okay.
And in engineering, as Madam told earlier, engineering is a science of providing solutions. So even if in the existing slab, if you want to do additional things like putting big mango trees, we can divide the slab, we can give additional support from the bottom. And if at all you want to do something extra load, put it above the wall rather than the slab. Maybe if it's one tree or one pot, big pot, that will give you the solution.
There is one question from a participant requesting for the product information, waterproofing product from Pidilite, mentioning his mail ID. So at the end of this webinar, we will be sending a follow-up mail to all of you mentioning the details of the panelists, including mail IDs. You can contact them, you can write to them requesting for the details or help. They will assist you in that.
It's again in connection with the same question that has been raised to Mr. Abhilash Joy, sir. Mr. Jinachandrababu, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, see, how do you address such kind of a scenario? Actually, if someone actually needs to create a water body over the terrace.
Yeah.
So, do you have some solution for it in terms of waterproofing solutions?
Yeah, we have got the right kind of waterproofing solution. Once it is approved by a qualified engineer, we can initiate the process, and there we got a CFTRI approved material for waterproofing the portable water tank actually, because we got a heavy duty material which can protect the water tank 4 years actually. Life expectancy of this kind of coating is around more than 10 years. And it's a layer system, 2 component cementitious waterproofing system, and for it all depends on the capacity of the tank. We got a smaller tank, we got a medium range material with a 1 millimeter thickness 2-layer system, and if it is a large tank, we got a 3-layer system with a higher elastomeric property with this same mentioned CFTRI certification. CFTRI means Central Food Technological Research Institute for portability.
Okay.
So while extending such a structure, there would be joints. So how best would be the solution in terms of joints, sir?
See, joints actually can be treated in a 2-way. We can use a bondage for that. And for eliminating the joints, we got a different category bonding material, like SBR, acrylic category bondages are available. For a load bearing area, we got epoxy bonding agents actually, 2 component epoxy bonding agent, which can be applied, that will give a adhesion property. That is the methodology we are recommending.
What is the success rate of such a method?
I think the additional structures that is constructed on rooftops, that itself is a big topic that can be done in another session. Since our topic today is rooftop farming, we can stick on to that, I think. And there is one question from Mr. Preet Laurel. Is there any low weight material that can be used for farming? Do we have an alternative to normal soil, because it is high dense soil? That is what he's mentioning. Any type of substitute for soil that has lesser density, they were reducing the debt load over the structure. Abhilash Joy, sir, you.
Yeah, there are, if you, we are in a country where we use, predominantly use soil. If you go to Israel, you can see them using volcanic ash and our own coir pit for farming. But their system of farming is entirely different, because they provide drip irrigation to the root zone. They don't require, actually, if they are farming in their farmland itself, they'll remove the topsoil because you might be knowing Israel has occupied the Golan Heights to get water alone, because only Golan Heights have water around that area. So they have captured that area for water alone, and they don't even lose a single drop. So after farming, whatever, because they provide a large area covered with thick LDB sheets, and they recollect water and reuse it. So they use coir pit and volcanic ash for farming, but the system is entirely different. It's directly root zone induction of maybe fertilizers, not like maybe we are just like we use most of us use pond farming, because we use more water and just our productivity is low. They have high productivity because they give only what the plants require.
Yeah. Personally, Mr. Preet, you can try this coir pit because it is really good. It is cost effective. So we cannot mention it as cost effective, but it is really good for a better result in a very fast pace, because
It's
for the
lightweight
roots
too.
of this vegetables, it is very easy for them to grow easily. Yeah, yeah, that is one part, and it is a lesser weight. And one additional thing is that we can support our coir industry to a greater extent. That is one option for you. And next question is the most widely asked question. It is to Jinachandrababu sir. Dear panelists, during the session, kindly mention the cost involved for the different options. This is by Srijit Dondi.
Okay.
Cost involved in waterproofing, at least.
Okay. See, it's all depends on the requirement. I can give a range. It is ranging from around rupees 850 to rupees 1350. Because why I'm giving you a bigger range? Because depends on the site requirement exactly. Because for a domestic purpose, with around approximately 1 second.
It's
We
per
are
meter square.
normally recommending this. Yeah. Able to hear? Audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. This pricing will be around rupees 850 range is coming plus create cost, whatever is coming actual, because we are recommending multi-layer systems, not a single coat actually, priming plus two-layer, three-layer coat, and certain cases we have to adapt what is called anti-root membrane is required, and we have to put a drain board. Entire system I am talking about. When you are considering the entire system cost, it will be vary from rupees 850 to 1350 range will come per square meter actually. Depends on the
Square
requirement.
meter.
I can bifurcate and give you.
Okay. Is there any guarantee or the life of the waterproofing method? Is there anything that is being provided from Dr.Fixit?
Yeah, actually, our system is warranted for against performance warranty. We are offering up to 10 years, and in certain cases it is ranging from 5 to 10 years, and certain case it may go up to 20 years also. Because for larger projects and all, we have to give a more what is called more warranty. There we are adapting a multiple system, so that those area we are covering with a warranty of around 20 years also. Yeah.
Okay. So is there any additional rate for that, or the same price?
No, it is included actually, because
Included.
see, in our case, I will just elaborate on the warranty part. Being a manufacturer, we are not directly undertaking the work. We are engaging the trained applicator for the execution, and with our supervision and guidance, they are executing the work, and these applicators are directly giving the warranty. That is the condition, and it's a back-to-back warranty.
Okay.
That
So
is
is there
the
anything like
methodology.
if the client is if somebody is approaching the applicator, will they divert it to the company? Is there any kind of such issues? What are the services offered, customer relation service offered by Dr. Fixit?
Yeah, we got a sound technical team actually, along with the sales team. They are working in the market in coordination, and we are attending this complaint promptly, and we are ensuring, and we will ensure the rectification with what is called our cost and what is called a risk actually. That is the way we are adapting it, because we are in touch with the tie-up with the applicators across. And as and when when they escalate the complaint, we will attend the complaint promptly and we will ensure that it is being resolved. That is the approach.
There is one question from Mr. Abdul Jabbar. The question is, if we design for extreme conditions for the roof, what about the economic consideration, since most of them are middle class and economy is also a factor. Designing for the extreme conditions. Question is to Mr. Abhilash Joy. Abhilash, sir?
Yeah, actually, the economy and strength does not go hand in hand. That is an issue, because if you want to build a robust structure which has to take these loads, maybe the additional cost has to be met. So there is no way out. As he's rightly pointed out, we are not a developed country. So maybe I'm only asking about the roof because it gives durability and long life. If you see most buildings, because of the feeble design or the grade of concrete, the structure tends to get distressed within 20 to 30 years. Whereas we use a structure for minimum of 40 to 50 years. So if you look at the repair cost, maybe going in for a robust structure first hand will be most appropriate, because the 1,000 rupees now, if you are spending 1 lakh rupees after 10 years, 1,000 rupees is more better. So it's always better to go in for a robust structure right now, because cost of construction will be, if you take inflation and the cost of construction, it will be anyhow more if you are going in for repairs later on. So it's better to go for a better strong structure.
Mr. Abdul Jabbar, to add on to this explanation, what I would suggest is when you're looking at the waterproofing and other methods, the cost imparted in that, when you're planning for protecting your roof in a later stage by providing additional sheet roofing, the cost, you can compare the cost included in that while applying a waterproofing or preparing your roof in a better way in the planning phase itself. It is a kind of win-win situation. You can choose accordingly. So during most of the cases, what happens is during the construction phase, the customer will be very tight at the end of the project. They will, while constructing, preparing the roof and other things, they will be running short of money. So they will, as part of saving money, they will avoid certain things, but that may be some important things that you are avoiding. That 1 minute, there is one question from Abhilash, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to add on one thing. If you look at structures which are old, maybe 30, 40 years, slabs are intact, because we used to give a sanctity towards concreting, because it was like a festival or a worship. But nowadays it's like a common man's job. We don't give any sanctity to the curing, the compaction. So the next year it starts leaks and put roof above that. So if you have to design and do the concreting in such a way that as if you are like worshipping. That's it.
True. Very true.
Okay. Is there any disadvantages if we follow this practice? Dhanana Jaya DP is asking this. I think the question is related to rooftop farming. Is there any disadvantages of doing rooftop farming, is her question.
It's towards me, it's for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so there is if you are not going in for any waterproofing or any other, you are just putting some bags and doing cultivation. In long term, there can be, because if you are going in for farming, there will be water every day. So concrete as such tends to have a process called carbonation, which starts maybe a few years from construction. And carbonation reduces the pH of the concrete. So once the pH of the concrete reduced from 12 to 9, gradually reinforcement starts get corroding. And this corrosion process, and if you have water plus oxygen very close to it, because if it's rooftop, there will be always water, that will accelerate your process of steel disintegration. So if you are not going in for waterproofing or the protection you should give, you will end up in a porous slab or a weak slab. So it's not an advantage if you have to be cautious. That's it.
Okay. There is next question is from Mr. Suresh S. While analyzing and designing the building with rooftop garden, how to calculate the additional load on the slab due to rooftop garden? Any caudal provision is there?
Actually,
Abhilash,
yeah, it's what we follow in India is IS 875 part 2. Actually, it doesn't directly give anything like maybe asset, which gives only the weight of the soil. So we have to take while designing, we have to consider in such a way that if there is a rooftop garden proposed, we have to take the thickness of, we have to know the thickness of the slab, maybe thickness of the soil. Some projects we have, as somebody earlier noted, that there are consultants which give 50 centimeter of slab to plant trees. So this slab has to be designed for, so we have to know it in first hand, and we have to also give systems whereby the soil has to be held, and then waterproofing has to be, and drainage also is really important.
so that means in the planning phase itself, we should plan it accordingly so that the foundation design, everything should be done accordingly, right? Okay. Then there is one question from Miss Divya Natarajan. Generally, growing vegetation will affect the building structure and it may get weakened due to the water seepage or root penetration. Does waterproofing work effectively for solving this problem, or some measures required? Do we have to do waterproofing periodically? This is Divya Vinod from Chennai. She's asking, Jinachandrababu sir, you can hopefully reply.
Yes. See, actually, before doing any activities, specifically for execution, for rectification, we have to go ahead with the diagnosing. Actually, that is a critical part for any waterproofing. And we have to have a expertise diagnosing. Then, based on the outcome, we have to do the rectification as per the procedure. And it will, and don't go for a short-term system actually, because as Abhilash sir mentioned there, it is time consuming as well as expensive also when you are looking over a period of time. We have to ensure that we are doing adequate precautions, and we have to meet the spec which is required for the rectification without any compromise. And we have to engage the right team and with the right product, and we will get a durable system which will last for long. Absolutely no doubt on that.
There is one question from Manasi Pimple. Can terrace gardening be done on a sloping roof house top? How can that be worked out? It is a journalist question. Nebu, can you add on to it?
Yeah, I can help you.
Yeah, yes. Sir.
Go ahead.
You have to make a small platform, maybe like in rows. You can, using mortar, you can create flat surface and put these bags, grow bags. So inline
or is
flat
it something like? Is it something like, since it is a sloping roof, there will not be much of water seepage issues. So if the slope is like comfortably, it can be placed on that rooftop, means can they do it without waterproofing? Maybe that is her question.
Still, it's I advise them to go for waterproofing, because once, as I said earlier, there will be always water once the grow bags are there. So it will only help the durability of the slab. So it's advisable to always go in for a waterproofing system.
Okay. So yes, sir.
Yeah, here I wish to add one point. We have to take care of the safety part actually, whether height of the we have to adequate fencing and anything is there or not, that needs to be taken care. Because for watering, different time people will go, different age group people, you have to be taken care, the safety part, when you are doing this kind of cultivation on a slope area.
Sloping, yes, yes.
Basically, the
That's
slop
right.
roof construction have to be taken care. Actually, it have to, it should be more seriously taken into account, because that is where you lack a lot of quality. I mean, you need to be very cautious about quality as well while constructing slop roof.
There is one question from Lakshmi Mohan. Can rooftop gardening be done on a building terrace which is more than 25 years old? To Abhilash Joy, sir.
As I said earlier, we can do it on any surface, but only thing is that we have to assess the existing condition of the slab. We have to check whether there is any cracks, or we have to check whether if there is any dampness which we see on the downside, on the bottom side. We have to assess the situation, and if you can find out, maybe if you have equipments, you can find the spacing of the reinforcement. So you can go the professional way as well as the crude way. The crude way, as I told earlier, you can do it for minimum number of bags. And best way is to go for maybe small grow bags above the walls. So there is no need of any load concern on the slab. So directly above the walls, you can keep any number of grow bags directly on the wall. Above the wall, above the wall, above the wall on the slab.
Okay. This is a question to Jinachandrababu, sir, to support him. It is a question from Mr. Prakatish. Give us ideas to begin rooftop farming. I have an empty roof of 800 square feet.
This location is from Kerala or outside? Any idea?
That is not mentioned.
Okay.
I think he's from Chennai, Tamil Nadu area. Or
Okay.
is it depending on the location, or in general?
No,
can you
not
reply to this?
exactly. Because, no, not exactly for the location, because so that we can service the area, we can depute our engineer for the site inspection, so that they can inspect the site and they can recommend the right methodology. That is the only objective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So that means, Mr. Prakatish, just after this webinar, we will be sending the contact details of both the panelists. You can contact Mr. Jinachandrababu for getting service directly from Dr.Fixit. They will be approaching you. They will be assessing your roof, which is having 800 square feet, and the cost and other details. They will be giving it to you directly.
Yeah. In the meantime, I want to share you two things actually. Yeah, sorry, major things. In Chennai as well as in Cochin, we got a Dr.Fixit got a experience center, and this customer care is a working area, and entire system is elaborated there actually. Customer can have a look and understanding purpose, they can have a look on this centers also. And so that the connectivity and costing can be initiated from those points also. Experience center for both locations. That I will take care. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And give us ideas to begin rooftop farming. I have empty roof. The same question is repeated, that it will be addressed after this webinar. The sales team will contact you. You can get technical support from Mr. Abhilash Joy also. There is one question from Hamid. We can add garden lot for the roof as a dead lot, but incremental root growth can penetrate through. How can we address this phenomena? The roof penetration, if it is going to exist, how to address structurally?
Yeah, actually, we don't. As we said, after waterproofing, we are giving a protective layer, which is like we are giving LDP thick sheets. So we shouldn't allow the roots to go to the slab level. So we are cutting that off. So we should never allow a root to go. You have seen on buildings banyan trees growing. So that's not a good sign. So never allow any sort of root to go to the slab level.
Yeah.
So you have to.
Yes.
Yeah, I will add one point here. See, there are membranes available today in toast membrane, APP membrane with anti-root property and self-adhesive material available with anti-rot property and polyurethane coating available with anti-rot property. These kind of material needs to be incorporated in the process. That is the only thing we have to take care. Thanks.
Okay, okay. So there is one more question from Mr. John Paul. He's asking, can you specify any rooftop waterproofing product? Preferably, we will ask Jinachandrababu sir to reply about your own product.
Yeah, see, single product means I can mention. I think we got a half a dozen of product for this category. For undercoat purpose, new construction, we are recommending polyurethane material called Dr.Fixit Flexi PU 270i. It is a single component solvent-based polyurethane coating. That is one. And the second one is we are recommending our own polyurea grade material for larger site. And then we got membranes, EPDM membrane and TPO. These kind of membranes we got. And for as a top coat, we are recommending Hydroshield PUD actually. That is again a water-based, polyurethane-based single component coating. We have multiple products for the different utility. Based on the site condition and requirement, we will give the exact spec. You can be in touch with our team and you can share your contacts.
Yes. And there is one suggestion from Mr. Jarish Jain. Instead of using the soil for growing plant, we can implement hydroponic methods also. As Sir said, the weight of the water is half the weight of the soil. I think it is a good practice, a good thing for the structure also. Thank you for your suggestion, Mr. Jarish. And there is one question from Mr. Prakatish. What is LDB sheets? LDB sheets. LDB
Hello?
sheets. LDB.
Low ethylene, low density polyethylene sheet.
Okay, okay. LDP.
and
Yeah.
plastic sheets.
Okay. Okay.
So
can you explain more about
available
that,
in
sir?
yes, it's LDP, and usually we see black pipes, no, that is HDP, and those are high density plastics. We get sheets, so it's like it's not easily tearable, and even we have it comes in thickness up to 2000 3000 micron, that is 2 to 3 even more than that. So it is really flexible, and you can have it as a protective layer above the waterproofing. And LDP sheets are much more elastic, and but anyhow this material has to be protected from UV. So long exposure to UV can, so above if there is soil, there is no issue, right? Because you see PVC pipes and all, which is exposed to sunlight, in a few years time it gets degraded.
So there is one suggestion from Manasi Pimple. As mentioned in Vietnam's law for buildings are in such a way that they need to provide a sloping roof due to climatic conditions. So could we in India also adapt to such roof along with terrace gardening also, because there would be no problem of water supply in coming days. So she is more concerned about the climate change problems right now, and her concern is about growing vegetables on the sloping roof as well. So this topic is already discussed, and even for doing sloping roof vegetations, you have to do waterproofing, and you have to adopt fencing so that the safety, because there is a chance that according to the slope of this roof, there is a chance this grow bags can fall down. It should not make some safety issues as well. So you have to be careful while doing sloping roof gardening. That's addressed, I think. The next question is from Karthikeyan K. Whether the quality of soil affects the surface of the roof slab. If so, what would be the alternative? To Abhilash Joy, sir.
As we are providing waterproofing.
Planter box kind of cultivation is what he's asking. Directly in soil over the slab.
Usually soil is a mix of lot of chemicals. So usually sulfides, soil containing sulfides, chlorides, etc. are not good for our concrete reinforcement and slab. So anyhow, when we are providing waterproofing as well as a protective layer, there is no direct contact between the soil and the slab. So you can use any soil, and if it's in a container, well and good.
Okay, there is one question from Mr. Solai Mati. Which type of irrigation can be used efficiently in this type of rooftop farming? Either drip or sprinkler type irrigation system she is asking for.
That is a irrigation question, but since I am interested, I am basically coming from a agricultural family. I would give for better efficiency a drip sort of irrigation will be good, because plants as we eat, we don't eat like a full 2 or 3 plates of biryani in a single go in maybe for lunch or for dinner. So it's just that plants need a small quantity of water and nutrients at a time. So it's just like human beings, these plants also need nutrients at specific times. It may be in the morning, it may be in the noon, it may be, so you have to feed them directly on the root. That means you don't need to, maybe plants needn't grow much bigger, but they will give you good product. And they don't need a very large amount of water, only give water to their demand. So there is a science behind that. You have to learn the demand of water and the supply of water. So it's like more of an agriculture thing. If you are interested, I will learn more and let you know.
And you can personally write to him to discuss more about this type of irrigation system and all, since Abhilash Joy is very much interested in that particular part. And one more question is one question from Mr. Pratik Kumar. For existing house, it's a very relevant question. For existing house without waterproofing, what is the minimum possible thing can be done for roof gardening? That is when they need to be like panic. Can it be done without waterproofing? Up to what extent can it be done? This is the question.
It's for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would, as a consultant,
Yes.
I would say you should not do that. But since you have asked the question, because you are directly giving a room for, as I said earlier, directly giving room for more moisture towards the slab. So I would always suggest a waterproofing layer. If at all you are very particular, you can go for a thick layer of LDP or HDP sheet, but it's not like a perennial solution. It may end you up in repair of slab maybe down the line, maybe 5 or 10 years down the line. So it's not advisable, but since you have asked specifically, I will maybe it's like a ad hoc way of doing things. That's it.
Okay. One question from Ms. Divya Ranganathan. What kind of maintenance techniques do you recommend for rooftop farming? How often do we need to do maintenance? And also, what kind of farming do you recommend for residential buildings and also commercial buildings? Maybe Jinachandrababu sir can address this question.
Yeah. See, this recommendation for farming, this all depends on the conditions, space availability, wind pressure, etc. And normally, I think cultivation, initially it was roof garden concept was there. It was a luxury. Now it is coming to what is called a social and economic benefit. We can cultivate these vegetables also. And the normal vegetables which is available in the market, which can be cultivated, even with the help of a planter box, small trees like what is called a banana tree, small trees like mango trees, those can be cultivated. But the only thing we have to see the space availability and the serviceability of the structure, and what way we can age of the structure. These are all critical while deciding this factor. And because continuously we are watering, this moisture content will be there, and the cleaning actually we have to do day to day. It is a day to day work actually. We should not accumulate the waste everything on the top. it should be cleaned properly, water should drain properly. That we have to ensure. And these are the fundamental things needs to be taken care. Because nowadays various agriculture department is working across. They are also having a wonderful recommendation and suggestion for these kind of queries.
Yes, there is one question from Mr. Silesh. 1 minute, just a minute. Give us ideas to, this is one question from Mr. Prakadesh. Give us ideas to begin rooftop farming. I have, it is already addressed, Mr. Prakadesh. And there is one question from Mr. Apart from loading parameters, not all the type of crops can be grown, as some have narrow roots and some has deep ones. So this is about the rooting of the vegetations. Mr. Sridhar Rajendran is asking. So this question is already addressed by Mr. Abhilash Joy while doing such kind of vegetation, what is to be done. And one more question we have: can cement flooring can be an alternative for waterproofing material? Ms. Andranik Ishwari is asking this. Cement flooring, additional cement layer, if you're giving, is it okay to give a cement layer rather than giving a waterproofing method?
As you know, cement, simply cement or concrete alone is a brittle material. So it due to maybe temperature difference, due to additional loads, this layer may crack and eventually let your water in to this layer, and it will create more issues. So it's not advisable.
And here actually I wish to can I add a few points here?
Yes.
Because
yes,
actually
yes,
cement or cement particle highly porous, actually it will attract water one way, number one. Number two is in order to accommodate the thermal stress over a period of time, and it is recommended to apply some kind of little elastomeric material which can accommodate expansion and contraction with a crack bridging ability. Because nowadays products available, it will because naturally due to weathering and thermal reasons, there will be a tendency for developing cracks. This kind of things can be eliminated by giving this kind of monolithic elastomeric coatings actually. That is a functionally absolutely far better than normal cementitious grading.
So there is one question from Mr. Shaitu Nair. 1 minute. In between that, there is one question from Mr. Suresh. What is the average slope to be provided for rooftop gardening?
It is a 1:100 minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you can also put. No issues. Continue. Continue,
It is a functional question. It's a functional question
Okay.
because depending upon the rain, if you have areas more than the slope, the number of outlets is more important, because if you have more area and you have only one outlet, it will create issues. So because in regions like Kerala, we have a rain of the intensity of rain will be at least, maximum intensity will be at least 4 millimeters per minute. That means you have to calculate your area and the quantity of water. So the slope, as rightly said, in 1 in 100 will be more than enough. But the number of drains is really important when you have more area, either farming or it's open. So if you don't have more number of drains, there will be issue of clogging, as well as the drain pipes should be large enough, because regions like coastal India, where there is a huge amount of rain as well as foliage, that is trees around, the drains easily get clogged. So provide large, more number of drain as well as large size drains. drain pipes draining.
Okay. There is one question from Abhishek Kulkarni. Does earth berm structures with landscaping on top in hospitality sector, how much higher construction cost compared to fabricated structure or framed RCC structure?
Is it regarding, is it a construction question or it's like a waterproof gardening? What is it?
Actually, what is it? I think what he meant was how much higher construction cost compared to fabricated structures or framed RCC structures. The strength parameter he is asking while doing rooftop farming.
Okay, so since it depends on what type of load you are trying to give. If you want to grow trees above your building, you have to have
He's
minimum
comparing
50
it with the earthen structure, earth structure on top of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because if you add soil to the existing building, if it's just bags, gunny bags, it's a less load. If you want to add, if you want to grow trees above this building, you have to have large thickness. So then your structure, your foundation, your column, your beams, everything will get heavier. So it depends on what you want to grow above. If it's just a lawn, or it's some small kitchen garden, or it's a full-fledged orchard. So it depends on what you are trying to grow.
Yes, there is one suggestion from Shaiju Nair sir, as we discussed before. Rooftop rainwater harvesting and the rooftop farming, if we decide in the planning stage itself, it will yield more sustainable results. The mantra should be doing it right, well planned. So this is what we recommended before. While in the planning phase itself, we should plan it. Yes.
I would like to add one more thing, because if you have a 100 square meter house in a place like Kerala or in Mumbai, you have at least 3 meters of rain per year. So 100 into 3 meters of rain is 300 meter cube of water. That is around 3 lakh liters of water per year. If you look at a 4-member family, that is more than enough for your water needs. So nobody is using that. And moreover, if you have a kitchen garden, it's you are through with your water and your basic food needs. Only thing is that you have to buy rice or wheat from outside. So it's getting into the self-sufficiency of matters.
There is one question from Sridhar Rajendran. When initiating rooftop garden, is there any certain considerations or restrictions to type of vegetation which is to be grown? So this can be addressed in 2 ways. With doing this waterproofing technique and without doing waterproofing. What are the type of vegetation that can be planted on the rooftop? Few things it is already addressed, but to add on to it, if you have anything, Mr. Jinachandrababu sir.
Here actually we have to think, one is waterproofing is a mandatory or not. It is like riding a two-wheeler without a helmet. Without a helmet also we can ride, absolutely fine. But here actually we need to safeguard our roof, and that is our property, and that is the foremost priority needs to be given for that actually. And roofing is a secondary part. If somebody wants to do something, just actually they have to consult the one engineer first, number one, without any compromise. Then some waterproofing consultancy. Then we have to take adequate measure, and based on the age and the type of construction, we have to decide what is suitable for that particular site. Depends on the geography. That is why I'm telling you, for high-rise building and all, if it is 30 or 40-story building, the wind pressure also we have to take care. Otherwise, it may spoil actually. That is the only 2-3 things we have to keep in mind. But the waterproofing,
Okay,
I don't think it is not a liability. It is going to be an asset for your structure.
Life of the structure, yes. And there are a lot of questions, so one by one, many are asking. Everyone, please wait. We are trying to address your issues one by one. So there is one question from Mr. Aravind BT. Is it possible to do rooftop farming on RC composite deck slab? To Abhilash Joy, sir.
You have to check for what load it has designed, because what type of load can the deck slab take. If you can back check it, cross check it, proof check it, and go ahead with that. That's all. Because you shouldn't overstress the roof, and it's not that once you do something you can put any load on top of it. So you have to cross check the design parameters and go ahead.
There is a network issue with the so it is almost completed, and there is one question from Mr. Hamid. If we are planting on large concrete barrels, can we expect a punching shear on slab, Mr. Abhilash Joy?
Come again, once again.
Doing it on once more, excuse me, sorry.
Network issue.
If we are planting on large
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I think.
Yeah, I think the question was regarding placing a drum. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Placing a loaded drum
Yeah, I can
over
hear
the
you.
terrace. Yeah, I guess the question, actually, I didn't hear the question properly, but still, I guess the question was about placing a loaded, maybe water loaded drum over the terrace. Is there any implication, actually? Is there any possibility of a punching shear over the terrace? Is what the question is, I believe. Mr. Abhilash
Yeah,
Joy.
if it's a, it depends on which location of your slab is this load. If you have only one, maybe this small cylindrical tank above the slab, it might be okay. If you have large number of tanks placed like that, it may be an issue. Better for you to place this such things above the walls. Above, if you have to find out the walls below and just keep it above the walls. That is a better solution.
to be more safe on site, right?
Divya, was that the question arised? Do you need to repeat it again?
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. And if you're planning to do it on any other places, you can consult a structural engineer to check the safety of the slab before doing it. It is always recommended to consult an expert before doing such things. Heavy loads on rooftops, either this planter box or anything. And there is one question from Abhishek Kulkarni. Does rooftop farming earn green building ratings like LEED or Griha rating? Is there any special rating available for rooftop farming techniques? I think this is a question that can be addressed in a different platform right now. Since many people are interested in this typical topic, we are planning one more webinar on this topic, by including few people from agriculture department, also from government side, to get some support from them. So to give some assistance, we will organize another webinar on this topic. One question is, what is the best technique to overcome cracks on walls? Mr. Abhilash Joy is facing some technical issue. He will be back soon, so he will address then. Regarding the cost part and warranty periods, many people are asking similar questions. Maybe Jinachandrababu sir, if you can explain more about the cost part. Is it depending on the state? Is it varying the product cost?
Yeah. This, as I mentioned earlier, this pricing will be approximately ranging from, including execution, it will vary from 850 rupees to 1,350 rupees. Why you mentioned this higher rate, 1,350 and all? It is for a high build material like polyurethane and all. There we are offering around a 20-year warranty, and rest of the things like normal polyurethane coating with anti-root properties with what is called a multi-layer system. It is costing around 850 rupees square meter. Plus, cost of screed or plaster, whatever is coming actual.
Is it the same for every state, or is it very?
It is more or less same, because here one thing we need to consider, that is majorly on the surface preparation. We need to assess the condition of the surface. If it is coming more, means that will be additional actually, because normal case this pricing will be ranging from this range only, and depends on the site condition and the surface condition. It may vary place to place.
Yes. Actually, our time is over, but even we are having more number of questions, so it is open to panelists where you can choose either to continue with the attending questions or to do in another platform. I think it is always better to make the attendees, since they waited till now peacefully. Shall we continue with the questions, sir, if it is okay for you?
Yeah, anyhow, it's COVID time, so we can spend some time.
Jinachandra sir, is it okay for you?
Yeah, absolutely
Shall
fine.
we
Absolutely
continue with
fine.
the questions? Yeah.
Yeah,
Then if the open terrace, the next question is, if the open terrace is tiled, extra waterproofing is required or not? This is from Muhammad Asar. If it is a tiled roofing, waterproofing is required or not? That's the question.
Yeah,
Abhilash Joy.
naturally. Yeah, sorry.
Or yeah, you can also attend. No issues, sir. Jinachandrababu sir, carry on, please.
Yeah, because waterproofing, as I mentioned, it is essential actually. Whether it is tile roof or a concrete roof, it is essential. It's a mandatory. It is not an option.
So many places during to add on to it, there is one additional problem faced by most of the apartments here in urban places. When they are doing some kind of farming over their balconies, the people who are living in the ground floor or the lower floor, they used to complain. So to address this issue, is there any special provisions provided for the balconies of apartments?
I think it has to come from a plumbing system.
Yes,
the plumbing system should be in such a way that the water directly goes through a pipe and drained out. So what usually happens in a flat system is that the drainage of the balconies are directly vented out through a small pipe, and it directly falls. Maybe if it's windy, the water can fall anywhere. And if it's not raining and you're watering your plant above, of course, the water will fall on anybody going down. So it's better to provide a proper drain for all balconies if you are planning for a irrigation system.
Okay. There is one question from Mr. Pradeep Kumar. Instead of going for roof proofing, why can't we go for raised floors for roof garden, and the lots can be directly transformed to the structural columns? That is something like the additional roof sheeting would be providing over terrace. That is what he is asking to Abhilash Joy, sir.
If it's a raised, if somebody can use that space in between these two slabs, if it acts like a usable space, that is well and good. But if there is no space in between and you cannot utilize that, that will be additional cost, and you will not be able to access that space, because for any repair or waterproofing, so that we don't usually suggest. Any space like that should be accessible between these two structures, because for later on, for some repairs or rehabilitation, if you have to see that, and otherwise will not be accessible for that human being. So then the additional cost, if you can bear that, well and good. And if you get to make an advantage of that, you should give a space in between, maybe less than 2 meters for maybe some storage space or something like that. If you can use that, make advantage of that space, well and good. Otherwise, it's a waste of money, I think.
Okay. There is one question from Mr. Prakatish. If we do roof farming, it might add more dead weight to the existing building, which may also lead to settlement in foundation. How to overcome this issue? This is what from the beginning we were discussing about consideration of additional load due to the roof terrace farming. Whenever you are doing so, you can consult a structural engineer. If it is exceeding certain limit, the limit is already been discussed by Abhilash Joy, sir. If you can comment on it again to brief it.
Usually, existing buildings usually are designed for 200 kilograms per 150 or 200 kilograms. Depends on what type of requirement you have. So if it's exceeding that, it's better to not to load the slab additional. Otherwise, settlement, if we are not going in for extensive loading, it will not be an issue.
There is one more question from Mr. Hamid. How can we overcome the root penetration phenomena in building elements? To prevent that, root penetration, to prevent that, is there any typical technique you are suggesting?
Already Jinachandrababu sir told there are materials, membranes which resist the root, or we can give thick layers of protective layers after waterproofing, LDP, thick LDP and LDP HDP sheets. And there are special protective layers, membrane layers are there, which does not allow roots to penetrate.
There is one question from Mr. Hamid. If you are planting on large concrete barrels, can we expect a punching shear on slab? To Mr. Abhilash Joy, sir.
Repetition.
Repetition. It is already been answered. Yeah. What is the temperature drop inside the building due to rooftop garden? Mr. Suresh from Erode, Tamil Nadu is asking. So the temperature, how much we can say the temperature inside the room? That's what he is asking.
It depends on how much area you are protecting, because if there is no direct sunlight on your slab through rooftop gardening, there will be a drastic reduction in temperature. If there is a minimal area which you are planting, depends on how much area you are covering.
Mr. Prakatish is asking one question: what is the best technique to overcome cracks on walls? If it is cracks on walls, is it due to the like rooftop gardening you are mentioning, or is it the cracks on slab you are asking? It is not clear from the question, but if it is on the slabs, how can you address, sir?
Is it on the slab or the wall?
It is mentioned if it is cracks on the walls, what are the best techniques to overcome that?
The wall depends on what type of cracks, because if it's a horizontal crack just below your slab, it may be due to a temperature stress on slab, because slab expands when it's hot, and it may be a temperature stress if it's just below the slab, if it's horizontally. If it's a vertical slab, it may be due to various reasons. One may be due to settlement towards one side, or due to overloading. So it depends on what type of crack. Maybe we cannot generalize cracks, because it's just like if you have a pain on your abdomen or your leg, it's different. It may be due to various reasons. So a structure is just like a human body. Depending upon what issues you have, the stresses and strains will be different. So you have to say which part. Maybe each crack may be due to different reasons.
It is always better to cure your cracks whenever you notice it, because we don't know due to what reason this crack has arrived. So it is always better to consult an expert. So one question from Arvevu. Yes, sir. Jinachandra, sir. Yeah.
If it is with respect to wall, actually, I wish to highlight that, because nowadays people are using a M sand, actually, manufactured sand, and because of inadequate curing, we found that a lot of area we are finding these isolation cracks are more in the wall, and that can be due to improper mixing, improper curing, and once it is appeared, we can rectify this crack by using appropriate crack fillers. Acrylic-based crack fillers are available, but it is not related to a load-bearing area. I am talking about only wall crack, internal or external. Yeah.
Yes. There is one question from Aribu Mungai. Which structure is suitable for roof farming? Can it be done on steel structures, steel roofs?
Anywhere you can kind of have farming. Only thing is that your structure has to take that load. So there is no issue in maybe growing your plants above a steel roof, but you have to have a system to take the load, as well as to protect the water from not coming in. So any structure you can, because engineering we have to find solution for all problems. So for anything under the sun, we have a solution. So it's not an issue at all.
Okay. There is one question from Cecilia Rose Benjamin. What all are the important factors that we have to consider when we are doing terrace gardening in small scale project and also in large scale project? About the load matters, we have to take care of in selecting the kind of plants and trees. The load is the main concern for her, and about a large scale and small scale project she's asking.
It depends on what type of plants you are growing in for. If you want to grow a mango or a big long rooted and big plants, you have to take a minimum soil thickness of 50 to 60 centimeter. That will add up to your cost. If you are going in for small plants and lawns, that will not add up to your cost. So it depends on what type of plants you want to put it over the roof.
There is one question from Mr. Pragatishus. Give me some suggestion regarding staircase farming. Staircase roof farming, maybe that's what he's asking. Staircase roof farming.
That is more of a maybe structure. Maybe you can hang it or make a structure out of steel and put gunny bags on roof and water it. It's always possible.
Yeah. There is one question from Manasi Dimple. Growing some creepers and plant species on the facade of buildings. How was that treated? Creepers and plants on the facades of buildings.
Okay. How to remove it? Yeah.
How to treat it?
Yeah. Because we have to remove that. Am I right? These are all weeds actually, according to me. Am I right? Weeds only, no?
Yeah, she's actually asking how to treat it in the sense not to destroy it, how to treat it in a better way.
Yeah, the permanent solution is we have to cut it that root actually, root stump we have to keep it. Further, we can use some kind of tree killers are available nowadays. It is available with some university level. Those kind of material can be utilized for removing these root permanently. That is a weed killers are available. Weed killer. The specialty chemical for removing.
Is she asking about climbers or weeds?
Can you repeat, sir, Abhilash Joy, sir?
Is she asking about climbers or weeds?
Creeper, she is asking.
Maybe small creeper vegetable plants.
Creepers,
like
yes, plants.
Usually grown in gunny bags or so. Anyhow, that area which the floor has to be protected.
Okay. There is one question from Riya Sakriya. How long can you guarantee the waterproofing for the roof structure? It is already addressed. Can it be done on one time with lifelong guarantee for the structure?
It's a what type of, as I said earlier, it starts from where when you design, if you can provide good slabs, thick slabs for design for loads and waterproofing and everything in place, I think you can at least guarantee a 20 to 30 year life. But if you are going on for roof garden in existing structures, we have to really check the quality of existing slabs and beams.
The periodical maintenance required for waterproofing methods.
I think sir is the best person to answer.
Yeah. Yes. Periodical maintenance of waterproofing. That means we have to maintain the hygienity of the site, and we have to avoid stagnation of water. As sir mentioned, we have to ensure that there won't be any water stagnation for a longer period. We have to ensure water is moving freely from the roofing area. These are the critical things, and too much abrasion. Abrasion means misuse. That needs to be taken care. I don't think that is sufficient to elongate the life of the system, because only thing we have to That much only in my mind.
Okay. To brief, can you explain the service practices given from Dr. Fixit and Sir?
Yeah. See,
Pre and
the
post
service in the
application.
yeah. With respect to site service, we are having wide network products available across India today, and we are having branch office almost every state, and we got a network, distributor dealer network, and supporting the sales team and supporting the what is called contractor fraternity. We are having a team of qualified civil engineers to assist them for selecting the material, and in need base we are engaging our trained applicators for the execution, and the periodical supervision we are conducting, and site audit we are conducting. And with respect to condition assessment, we too got a division called NDT, non-destructive testing laboratory we are having, and there we are having qualified people for evaluation and condition assessment. Those things facility we are giving, and when we are going to site for a site inspection and for our expertise visit, these are all absolutely free from our end. And we are also giving training for the people, for the contractors as well as for the waterproofing applicators. We are having a continuous engagement program that we are initiating periodically across, and we too got a experience center, which I have mentioned earlier. And the South India, we got at 2 locations, one in Cochin, and the second one was in Chennai. Chennai, it is based in Gopalapuram, and the Cochin, it is in Kalamacheri. And with respect to pricing, we are also involving in the cost factor, because we are checking periodically the cost, what is the costing, and we are ensuring that it is not going to be a burden for the customer. It is not underpriced or overpriced. That periodical check is there with our team, and quality, pricing, and service. These are the things we are ensuring. Yeah. And another thing is we are having multi-range. We are having wider range of material. What is available in globally, what is available today, it is available in every nook and corner today. And material plus service, that assurance we are giving for everyone.
Okay. So it is a kind request from our end also, sir. Whoever participated in this webinar, when they are contacting you, give them your maximum best service to overcome their each one's issue. There is one typical question. I think we can consider it as the last question because there are so many questions left, but few are already addressed. So we are moving on to our last question. This is to Abhilash Joy, sir. My house, Mr. Prakash is asking, my house has a cantilever beam holding the slab 6 feet from load bearing wall. It shows vertical cracks along the parapet wall. How can I overcome this issue? And suggest me some thermal insulation material to overcome hectic heat during summer season.
Yeah, if it's on the outer end, because cantilever outer end is the, where the loads minimum moments come. If that is the crack, it is maybe due to the expansion of the slab and the wall, the joints. It will be a horizontal crack. That is not a big issue, but it is due to temperature stresses. You can either provide a small coping on top of this parapet so that the water does not directly flow through the side of the wall and go into the crack, so that it's protected. Sealing, in this case, providing sealants, etc., may work for a few years, but still what I have seen is that after some year it again develops cracks. So what we usually do is that on parapet walls we give vertical construction joints at few distances so that the stresses are taken care of, and it is filled with elastometric materials. So otherwise, since it's two different materials and temperature like ours, it is supposed to crack. So there is nothing that we can do. So the best practice is to provide vertical construction joints. If there is no joint, you can just provide a joint by grooving it or cutting it using big saws.
So, Mr. Prakatish, what we can do is, hearing from you, we understand that there are a lot of issues associated with your back issues is existing. So, what you can do is take some photos. You can send, after this webinar, we will be sending you the details of Mr. Abhilash Joy, sir. You can send the photos to him. You can get in touch with him to get maximum assistance. And once when this lockdown is ending, I think he can directly personally visit your house and give you remedial measures. So with this, we thank you all for participating in this particular webinar. This is Sustainable Living Practice Initiative organized by Construction Philosophy, joining hands with Dr.Fixit and seeking the effective participation from all of you. We are planning to conduct such webinars in coming days. We'll be organizing it. If you have any suggestions after ending this webinar, you can write to us. If you experienced any sort of it is audio, it is not audible, some kind of messages I have seen, it may be due to the network problem. And in the coming days, we will organize such webinars. We will intimate you, we will inform you. Please participate, please clear up all your doubts. We will include more experts from this industry as well as from various sectors. So we will see you next time. Stay safe. Thank you all for participating, registering and supporting us and listening to us. Thank you, panelists. Jinachandra sir, thank you for your time. Abhilash sir, thank you for your support. Nebu, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care, stay safe. Bye. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much. On behalf of Pidilite, I wish to thank everyone, and it was a privilege to be with Mr. Abhilash sir, and for spending two valuable time. And thank you for choosing this subject also, because it is quite very important actually at this time, because I know in recent past I have not attended such a program with respect to this roof farming actually. And thank you for initiating, and I express my sincere gratitude to everyone. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Everybody safe. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.